Right, let me grab my cup of tea from downstairs. Are people watching already? What? What is this? I've been live for 12 seconds. Oh, it's because I didn't think properly. Is it going to transmit what I'm seeing on my screen? Yeah, it is. Perfect. Is this working? Make sure everything's working. And then I'll grab my cup of... Oh my god, it's all working. How good is that? I'm a professional, mate. I'm going to go my tea, and then we'll see if I've got everything I need on screen. Right. Here. Got a hot water bottle. So I get my blanket. I probably don't need my blanket. I'm not a granddad, am I? Oh. I mean, I've lost a little bit more weight, but like maybe a half a pound? Maybe a pound? I haven't actually... didn't weigh myself today. Right. Oh. Let's do that. No, that... Now you can't hear... That'll be fine, right? Yeah. Sort of maybe hear a little inkling of music. A minkle. No. That'll be fine. Well, that's doing... Change to the next song, actually. Okay. Perfect. Do this. Then I have a face. Oh, I'm a little bit invisible, but might have to just deal with that today because I can't be asked. Okay, it's always nice and good. What am I talking about? I don't fucking know. Oh, been a long week. I'm tired. I'm always tired, but this is a different kind of tired. This is losing weight and going for runs and exercising tired. But I hope everyone is doing okay. I am Board Gamer. This is my stream. If you have any questions you would like to ask me about me or my YouTube channel or mental health or Star Citizen or fucking anything else, feel free to ask. Question in brackets will allow me to better read your sort of like statements or questions. Statement: how many board gamers does it take to game board if a game could board a board gamer called Board Gamer? Thanks. Morning. Was I late? I don't think I was late. I think I was perfectly on time. So, Carrick. We're expecting the Carrick by the end of this month still. Carrick for 3.8.2 is the expectation. CIG have just put a 3.8.1 G PTU patch up on the test servers. That literally just fixes very minuscule amounts. But there was a load of data mined leaks in there as well, which we might look at in a minute. We need Carrick emojis. Maybe. I could have a look. I need someone to design and make them. And then... I'm not the artiest person in the world. I'm not the greatest editor in the world. I'm alright at talking. And I look kind of like an attractive potato. Those are my skills. I look at my head, it's very... extra shiny today. Maybe we can do something about that? Can we up this? No, no. Oh no. That's not good. No. Oh, there we go. Decontrast. Oh no. That was it. That better? No, is it? Not better at all. This song is by Pedro Camacho and it's called Creating a Better World. Well, thank you very much for people chucking me money already. I haven't done anything yet. Thank you very much, shite. Hello and welcome to some more Board Citizen. Strut stuff. None of that. Oh, buttcraft. Oh. Are we talking about struts? Struts in RSA ships. It's strange that we haven't seen the RSI Constellation Taurus in game yet. And I think that it's a possibility that they are redoing the cockpits in all of the constellations because of the amount of time it's taken to get the Taurus out. Although it's possible that just the Taurus has been so deprioritized due to CIG's changing needs, whatever those needs are. They seem to be a mystery a lot of the time. Sort of like oddly changed. 4.0 is not live, no. That would be madness. 3.9 is planned to be live at the end of March. We do need the Carrick, that is true. Just stop streaming to say hello. Cheers for the reply the other night, board. No worries, Captain Carrick. Why everyone's called Carrick today? Persistence. What do you want? Carrick. Lots of people saying Carrick. So I think it's a little known fact. Jared, Disco Lando's favourite ship, is forcibly the Carrick, but his actual favourite ship, I believe, is the Genesis Starliner. I assume is still true. It might not be true anymore. Can you send a giant sandworm to eat Slough? I'm stuck working there today, and I just want it to stop. Wait, well, you might be stormed in. Is it today or this weekend? There's going to be a load of snow. Be careful, Jag. You'll get through it. Work for tomorrow's you. I said, my mum was saying something the other day, and I said, if you can't cope with something during the day, Mother, just say it's a problem for tomorrow's you. And she went, oh, that's a really good bit of wisdom. Where did you get that from? One Punch Man. It's not something to say to assess. Get off my lawn. No, I want to lie down in your lawn. Haha, and take a poo. Have some of that. Oh, I've got a heated blanket. Maybe I should get a heated blanket. I don't want to... Heated blankets, they worry me because I don't want to plug them into the mains. Is that how they happen? Although DC was showing me... Deathcore was showing me this guy that earths himself to the ground when he sleeps. I think it's one of those bullshittery things where they go, oh, you know, these align your chakras to the world, and now you feel better. It turns out that all your... I think his theory is that there's no disease, it's all just inflammation. And I was like, oh. But, you know, you believe what you want as long as you're civil and you can discuss your point of view. I'm pretty chill. Hey, board, hope you're well. I'm not currently feeling excited for this year with what we know so far. I'm hoping Theatres of War will help. Are you expecting it to be very polished on release? Nothing about Star Citizen has been polished so far. The playable game that I played, Theatres of War, at CitizenCon 2019, was fun, but unpolished, and it needs polish. I suspect it will be polished to the same state that Star Marine is, maybe a little bit more, with the fact they've got a team working on it, and it was in an okay state at CitizenCon. I mean, it would have needed a lot more love before going to a wider audience, but it was certainly more playable than all the stuff I've had with Star Citizen previously. So Theatres of War, if they release it in the reasonable state, yeah, I think it would be pretty cool. We'll see the 4.1 and 4.2 roadmaps pretty soon, I think. That's what COG have implied. There might be some more exciting stuff on that. But I just, to be honest, every time there's a major patch, I'm a little bit excited. There's always some cool new stuff there. There's lots of like hidden stuff and lots of stuff they don't announce on the roadmaps with each major release. It's just 3.8 was a little disappointing for me because the playability of the patch was a little bit lower than I wanted it to be, by a good margin. I mean, it just wasn't playable properly with a group of people, and there were game-breaking bugs, which was not something I was hoping for with 3.8 on onwards. So really, they need to step up with 3.9 to get it into a much better playable state. I mean, you could say that maybe I need to step up and actually stream better and have my green screen working rather than me fuzzing out and me washing out my face. At least I'm washing. The road to health is totally worth it. Yeah, I mean, so I had half a bowl of porridge before starting. This morning I had an egg on toast because cholesterol, dietary cholesterol, is not the same as cholesterol directly in your blood from saturated fat. Saturated fat's the bad thing, rather than eating cholesterol. Nom nom nom. If you eat cholesterol, your body produces less cholesterol. I mean, if you have loads and loads and loads of saturated fats, you produce cholesterol, and your arteries get bunged up, as far as I understand it. I'm not a dietitian. I'm barely a chef. I'm not a chef anymore, really. I wish CIG would do like the odd release. Just bug fixes and even release feature additions. Yeah, so I think you've said that before, Alison Young, because I've got it in my notes. And I actually quite like the idea of staggered development from that point of view would be, yeah, you alternately release a major feature patch and then a bug fix patch. What I'd just like to see is Star Citizen get into a state where they can release new features without the huge amount of problems and bugs that break the game. And as we push towards getting more of the core of the engine, core of the game, and Squadron 42's release, I think we will get better and better and better and playable, more and more playable versions of Star Citizen. Are you threatening me, what? Will the Crytek go back to the drawing board after 3.8.2 release when backers go mad and crazy when the released model doesn't get enough positive feedback? So there's only good, whatever happens, whatever the Crytek looks like, even if it's near perfect to what most people want, there'll still be a few people which are very vocal and aggressive on, and uncivil as well, what I'd say, on Reddit and on Spectrum and on Twitter, going rah rah rah, I hate it, or oh my god, rah. So they can certainly never please everyone, and that's one of the reasons that CIG don't talk about. Put my hot water bottle in my oh, it's nice and warm. That's one of the reasons that CIG don't talk about features they've got planned for the far future and that might evolve heavily, is because if they talk about them, then people are going to get annoyed when something's not like that, even if it's better than that. You see what I mean? Why do devs keep pushing out stuff instead of fixing bugs first? They can't fix all the bugs first. They need to push it out as part of the alpha sort of development of it, as they want other people to stress test it and that sort of stuff. We were expecting Star Citizen 3.8, the whole branch, to be a lot more playable than it has been. And I do agree that they need to get more bugs fixed during the branches, Evocati phase, PTU phases before they release. How do I get more time to game? You retire, you find a job that suits your gaming habit, you get smarter investing, that sort of stuff. Time and money management, that will help you in life. Question? 4.1 and 4.2 on the roadmap today. I hope so. I hope so. It's certainly a possibility. With the hull C finished, well, for Squadron 42's needs anyway, yes. Do you think that the ship will go into 4.0 when ship-to-station docking goes in? So that is one of the prerequisites, as is an updated cargo system. So they can have larger and different cargo boxes, because they don't want loads and loads and loads of little tiny cargo boxes, because that was too server intensive. So they need large ones to be able to put on the hull C. And they also need to solve the dynamic morphing physics grids, which is the hull C Expanse contracts. But with those in, yes. But will it be for 4.0? We don't know yet. Twitter drama. Don't tell me there's drama on Twitter. I'm shocked. So this was, we'll talk more about it in a second, but this was from the creator of the Expanse. So I've got a video that will go live straight after this stream. But the S.A. Corey, what's James S.A. Corey, which is the pen name for the writers of the Expanse. One of them, or whoever owns the Twitter account, was playing Star Citizen. Their camera came on. There's a FOIP and a bug in 3.8.1 which has it on by default. Their camera came on and they went uninstalling because privacy issue. Which, to be honest, is sort of fair enough to some extent, especially for more security conscious people. And if you're not aware of FOIP, you'd be like, what? Why is my camera coming on? Didn't tell me, it didn't even ask me. So that's not great. They said, uninstalling the game, this is a privacy issue. Sort of, they were pretty angry about it. CIG messaged them back eventually and said, look, it's just a bug and over. And they messaged back and said, oh, it's okay. I knew it wasn't, I didn't think it was something nefarious. Or at least now that I understand it, I know it's not nefarious, but it's too big and I might look at it later sort of things, the way I read it. But I saw some YouTubers and media sites have it as Star Citizen fans attack creator of the Expanse. I had a look and I was like, there's a couple of comments saying you're an idiot. It's fight blah, 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 whatever, or something like that. That's a bit rude. And there was just like a couple of them on Twitter. On Reddit, there was some people discussing it in a bit more detail, like saying drama queens and stuff like that. But that could have been literally talking about the situation rather than the people. I don't think it was that big a deal. But I suppose anything for a title now? Like, I was thinking, really? That's scraping the barrel. I watch YouTubers Pretty Good Gaming? Pretty Good Games or something like that. So they do news and stuff. They are very, very, very sort of like, and they're slightly antagonistic towards the Star Citizen community. But like, oh, I'm going to get attacked by Star Citizen people for saying this. Like, you're probably not, but the people are going to be in the comments attacking you now, whether or not part of the Star Citizen community or not. It's such a weird thing. But I love the Star Citizen community. Like, not just because I have a channel that's based on Star Citizen, but they're the most welcoming, friendly community I've ever been part of for a game. But yeah, because it's a reasonably popular game, it attracts some people that either are socially awkward, don't know how to communicate, or just rude. So there are some people in the community that are obviously idiots, in my opinion. I can't see anything in chat. Can you see this? Sorry for all the caps. Yes, I can. Or a dog. Has there ever been stated qualities that get a ship labelled as interdiction? You can't interdict on any of them. So this is interesting. There's quantum enforcement, which is the Mantis can now pull ships out of quantum and hold them and stop ships going into quantum. That is quantum interdiction. And interdiction in a fighter sense would be the ability to intercept effectively, as far as I understand it, quickly. Interceptor, interdictors? The interception and interdiction the same thing? Interdiction. The action of prohibiting or forbidding something. The action of intercepting and preventing the movement of something. So yeah, an interdictor, in my opinion, would be for the Mantis or a ship that prevents you from going fast or moving or whatever, or holds you in a position and forces you to fight it or whatever. So like harasses you. So kind of an interceptor. But maybe there'll be ships like the Quantum Enforcement Mantis, but maybe they'll just be for slowing ships down rather than preventing them to go to quantum drive. Just a thought, maybe. What's new on the PTU? I got invited finally, but I'm not seeing what's different. So all that's different on the current PTU, the 3.8.1G build, is they've fixed some infinite loading screens related to logging off embeds, some crashes, and one of the Alpha UBC exploits, which when you changed your armor, it kept your inventory full or something with commodities. You could just like duplicate your inventory like that. So it's just a tiny little mini patch. Still in the same 3.8.1 branch technically. Lose any more weight, BG. I am down 10 pounds, which is great for me. Congratulations. I'm glad that you're down, hopefully at a healthy rate. So yeah, I've probably lost maybe half a pound or a pound more since Monday, or Tuesday, whenever last I streamed. It's a slog. Like, I want to eat all the time. I have a bit of salmon and some quinoa or quinoa every day, with like wild rice and stuff like that. Just a small amount. I have like an egg on toast, and then I might have some porridge, and that's sort of it. But the other thing I have for like sugar and caffeine is black tea. Well, it's not. It's technically called black tea, but it's with milk. I was doing it entirely without dairy at one point, but I quite like milk in my tea rather than almond milk or anything like that. My porridge as well, that's almond milk. Notice me board pie. Strategic. You've been noticed, though I can't see your name. What else have we got here? Did you by any chance get the question about the extra game packages into advanced NPC at the con? It might be in my notes. As far as I'm aware, extra game packages CIG have not worked out exactly what is going to happen yet if you have extra game packages on a single account. They don't know for sure yet. They have not decided. Do you think the Crytek should have drone gameplay ready? I do not expect drone gameplay for 3.8.2 when the Crytek goes live. It's a feature that they need to resolve. Technically, they could put a bodged version of remote controlling drones in pretty soon if they wanted to, because effectively it's just like remoting to a turret that can move a bit. But I suspect they want proper gameplay there. They also want the drones semi-autonomous, as far as I'm aware. You can sort of like give them commands rather than remote control them, or they do tasks while not being controlled. I think that's sort of like what they wanted to do anyway. What's new on the PT? So I already talked about. Keen on seeing more of the Apollo now the Cutlass Red is out. Yeah, it's a cool medical ship. Don't know when we're going to see the Apollo though, unless it's needed for Squadron 42, which I wouldn't expect. So, are there any streamers that read out lore posts on RSI? Yes, you will see. I'm assuming Galactic Historian does it. Paul Shelley, Berserker. The Astropub, sorry. He's got a billion fucking names. If people desperately wanted me to read out lore posts, I'd either do it or get Kit or Zin to do it. Kit's got a good voice, and other organisations use her for ops, to do pre-recordings for their ops and stuff. Like, basically, she is a stand-in Tessa Bannister for a load of orgs. Or a couple of orgs, anyway. Why are they rolling out new things instead of fixing bugs? We talked about that. Have you heard anything about the digital goodies package armor? It looks to me like that's going to be released in 3.8.2 or 3.9. That's what it looks like to me, because there is some armor that was talked about in the Star Citizen leaks, which was the some of the Expo armor and some warm weather armor and that sort of stuff. So I would expect it in 3.9, or by 3.9. What else have we got? Are you stockpiling weeks of dry food for when Kung Flu hits the south? Wow. I think that we'll probably be, even if the coronavirus really spread around the UK, I think it is just quite bad flu, and we've got reasonably good healthcare here. It's more of a problem to the very young and the very old, or people that are more vulnerable of getting sort of like sick from pneumonia and stuff like that, which there are obviously treatments for. So it's sort of like if you manage to get your symptoms, you'll sort of be fine. Obviously that's much harder to do in some other countries like China, where the healthcare system may not be as good. Do you think we will get salvage this year? Yes, I think it will be a feature of 4.1 probably. You are noticed. Okay, you're all loved. I love you all. Okay, my little children. Do you know when we will see the changes to clothes and suits as far as storing extra suits on ships and equipping them outside of the mobiglass? Yeah, so Deadeye, this is what you're talking about is physicalized inventory, and to a lesser extent, making use of that on ships. So physicalized components, physicalized inventories, and all sort of like part of the physicalized trifecta physical damage. Expect it this year. That's what I am. I'm expecting this year for 4.1 or 4.2 at the moment. And they keep on showing demos of them doing it to a lesser extent. I'm working on a project with Paul Shelley, Astropub, to create an onboard galactic historian, so you can ask about planets, companies, events, factions, and you'll get a bit of lore about it from Paul. That sounds great. Is that going to be in conjunction with like Game Glass? Or how's your deployment? What's your deployment platform for that? Board Gamer, can you come join us for our upcoming event, late February, early March, Citizen Smash 2950? If I am free, yes. It will be a voice attack profile. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that works. Cool. Send me more information about that. I'll happily promote it. That's cool. Any cool little things that are being made by content creators I like as well, I'm happy to shill for. The Crytek is not out on the PTU. Have you heard any news on the... we talked about that. I will come to... Someone's asking about... Someone's asking about Blizzard and stuff. I'll come to that in a minute. I'm quite far behind on questions. Apologies. Right, let's go down. What do you think of Morphologis's architectural reviews of the game? They are very cool. They are... okay, so I don't... He does explain it reasonably well. So his videos are not something I would typically consume unless... But I do because they're about Star Citizen. That's literally the only thing. They don't typically interest me normally. His ability to explain stuff is fantastic. The thing I really love about his videos, and I would just watch them without his voice on even, is his ability to edit and capture footage correctly and get those shots together. He does that so well. But his... what he's actually talking about isn't something I'm necessarily interested in for Star Citizen, because I'm more of a... I want tangible information either about news or about how stuff's going to work. You see what I mean? He's very much sort of like evaluating what's there currently in his style. So I think he's a fantastic content creator, and I really like the chap though. I recommend everyone check him out at the very least. With the Hull C finished, we've talked about that. Have you heard anything about being able to hail your ship from, say, your pieces or whatever other ship that you have? Pisces. Pisces, you meant, rather than pieces. M50 and order remotely the Crytek and the 890 jump to open its hangar doors. Okay, so will we be able to remotely open and interact with ships, pull down ships remotely? CIG are sort of like looking at that a little bit more. They previously said no, they want it tactile and interactive, and you actually have to go and do stuff. But they've also said, well, in some cases we'll have a look at it in the future. So, what do you know of Chris Roberts' physics refactor? Only that he's helped work on a physics refactor to help do some of the code for it. And it was a big thing that they needed for lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of tech for the game. It was done a little while ago. Do you think CIG will add big luxury casino ships eventually? Something like that, probably, as long as it's not seen as gambling, like real-life gambling. Do you know what I mean? They have to toe the line with stuff like that, especially in the current sort of economy in the real world. Have you heard any news on... talked about that. So I'm quite far behind on in the chat, so bear that in mind. You mentioned in another video about AI being affected by the weather conditions. Will, in the future, the weather also affect flying capabilities of a ship of different sizes? Yeah, so wind is going to affect different ships differently, as is the atmosphere. That's going to be based on aerodynamics and lift and drag and the shape of a ship and damage you've taken, all that sort of jazz, as well as the power of your thrusters. They're like lowering the power of your thrusters and changing that in atmosphere as well soon. When I was talking about AI in weather, they will react to weather, and if there's any thing that affects their ships, it will affect their ship. When I was talking about weather with the AI, I was saying visibility. Is it going to affect their visibility in the same way it will affect a player's visibility? So if I can't see something, but it's an effect, the AI might just go, well, I can see through it, because I don't see in that way. I don't use the eyes, because I am AIs. You see what I mean? Hologram board is immersive. I am the hologram of where the fuck this is. Crytek. New Babbage. What happened on Twitter? So, I'm not sure how far I am behind there, because it doesn't give me the time codes now, because monstrous. So, yeah. The creator of The Expanse, one of the writers from The Expanse, so the James S.A. Corey account, who's the pen name for them, was playing Star Citizen. Camera came on without him giving permission for it. It's a bargain 3.8.1. it basically just turns VoIP on face over IP on by default. He got annoyed and said, we can have a look at it if you want. Wow, Robo Space Industries, I install you, and you instantly turn on my laptop camera without explicit permission. Why wait to volunteer to be uninstalled forever? Nice when people make things easy. So this obviously gained a little bit of traction, and CIG did reply reasonably soon after, on the same day at least. It's a bug, shouldn't be the case, sort of like we're sorry, and explained that there's no privacy issues because it doesn't store any data at all, doesn't record, it just literally looks at your face and discards anything immediately. But a lot of other news outlets and YouTubers have reported this as Star Citizen's fans attack the Expanse writers, which they literally didn't, in my opinion anyway. There's people like me with 42 likes. I'm a massive Star Citizen fan, but you have a point. VoIP should be off by default. We know it's a bug though, so I don't think it was a big deal when I said you do you. But yeah, I didn't see really anything other than a couple of people being a bit rude. I think on Reddit it's probably a different story. You get people being, you know, much more aggressive and entitled on Reddit, in my opinion. Certainly not everyone, because I use Reddit as well. I think a lot of people do. But what I mean is, with any game with a large enough community, you're going to have people that are rude, and it's disingenuous for media outlets to report this as Star Citizen fans attack this dude. They didn't, at least my opinion, maybe. But you know, but that's what was happened. That's what it really was. Can you shill this? Yes, Captain Carrick. I will. I'll have a look at that, and I will potentially shill it in my news on the weekend if it's cool. If I like it. Hello, Dark and Blood. Hello, people. Lots of people saying hello. Where are my greebles and doodads? More antennas. So CIG hates the term greebles. I was talking to them about this on my last studio tour. You'll get your doodads eventually. When are we supposed to have clouds and nebulas? So you'll start to see that more and more in the game, but I'm not sure entirely when. So you'll see just more and more cloud tech get used. So not just like little smoky areas, but more and more building into more nebulas and parts of asteroid fields, and then parts of points of interest and stuff like that. 4.0 will see Crusader, that's a gas giant, so that will have layered cloud effects. Or layered giant gas giant tech, whatever the hell they're calling it. When Squadron 42 is released, do you think we will see half a year after that a speed up in development more? So there will be more, certainly will be more devs focused on Star Citizen's Persistent Universe, and obviously that will signify that a large core of the game is completed, which can then either be finished and be put into the Persistent Universe, or would have already been finished by that point. Can Arena Commander and Star Marine be implemented into the PU? Sort of. I mean, they can have it separate, or they can have those sim pods if they want to. That's probably the way they do it. Have you watched all of The Expanse and or Firefly? Firefly, yes. The Expanse, only the first season. I will have a watch of The Expanse again. It was causing me too much anxiety watching The Expanse. I have lost a lot of weight. I was 214 pounds at the beginning of the year. 112 pounds at the beginning of the year, something like that. I am now, well, last weighing 198 pounds. I'm trying to get to like 170. Do you think the Mantis will have a mass limitation so you can't pull out larger ships? I think it will have some limitations. I'm not sure exactly what. Statement: from my understanding of the EVE community, interceptors are very fast and very lightly protected fighters that can pin down a single target and prevent them from entering warp. Yeah, that's is that Webifiers? Is that Webifiers doing that? There's two types of systems that do that. There's Webifiers and warp disruptors, I think. Do Do you think the interdiction side of the game will be fairly balanced? Last thing I want is to end up like EVE Online. It's too toxic, and everyone with a ship would carry jump gates. Okay, so I used to love EVE, and as of like maybe 3 years ago, maybe three and a half years ago, started to not play it so much. Just wasn't as interested in it. I do like PvP, especially in that sort of game, as well as PvE, so like a mixture of the two. Like ops and things like that are done well. I think that that sort of gameplay is something that we need to be aware of and make sure that CIG go in the right direction, which is going to be a little bit different for everyone, but everyone having their voice helps with that sort of thing. It's important gameplay to have interdiction and the ability to stop people from getting away, because you want to be able to have bounty hunters, you want to be able to have all this sort of stuff. You want to be able to have meaningful loss and risk and reward, but you also need ways to counteract that as well. And it not to all just be based on loadout and pre-planning. It has to be some form of element and skill there as well during the op or during what's happening. Will missions have actual items instead of just boxes you can transport, and will have the option to steal, and maybe they put a bounty on you. So when they have physicalized inventories and that sort of stuff, and physicalized components, and some more of the cargo v2, I suspect you will eventually be able to put items in boxes as cargo. And yeah, they will evolve the game systems for cargo, for smuggling, for stealing, all this sort of stuff, and looting. Board, what do you think of the shit show that is Blizzard, Activision, EA Games, and makes you feel good about Star Citizen publishers? So when Star Citizen gets big enough and old enough, I mean, Star Citizen do things wrong all the time, and they have historically, when they're a small studio, when they're a medium studio, now they're going into a large studio. They've done stuff wrong as well, so they're not squeaky clean. They do stuff wrong. They're inefficient. They've made bad decisions. The problems with like the huge studios is they're much more aggressively money motivated for their shareholders, things like that. So they're capitalism times 10, and they only think about short-term profits, which is madness. So that's the issue I have with them, and that's the reason you get them being what you refer to as shit shows. But hopefully some of those will come back on track. I'd love Diablo 4 to be a good game and not be overly monetized or crap. I'd like them to fix Warcraft 3 Reforged, because I went, oh my fucking god, I immediately bought it when I saw that it come out, and I went, oh, this is the worst reviewed game of all time. And it was one of the highest reviewed games of all time previously. So, yeah, I mean, as you get bigger as a company, I think that you, at least currently, people have become more monstrous. Valve are probably one of the exceptions to that. When can we install Star Citizen again? I have no install button on my launcher, and I have reinstalled it 3 times. What? What? Be working? Any news on the 2-wheeled motorbike in game? The Ranger? No. No news on the Tumble Ranger. Do you think the Crytek will be the most versatile ship? It is the most versatile ship I can think of that they're putting in the game. Are any of the Crytek's weapons slaved to pilot? I don't actually know anymore. So we know that it's got 2 large side turrets on the rear back, and it looks like it's got some form of turret on the roof, and I think there's one underneath as well. I'm not sure if they're remote or manned, but I would expect them to be remote. I would expect there to be forward-firing weapons as well. We'll have to wait and see what they've done with the rework. Because we did not see the Crytek in combat in Citizen Gone. From its front, it was from its rear, the turrets. So, do you think the Mantis will keep We talked about the limitations already. Do you think the interdiction side of the game will be fairly balanced? So interdiction, we're going to, for this stream at least, assuming that people mean quantum enforcement, which was originally going to be quantum interdiction. It's all the same sort of thing. It should be more and more balanced eventually. Board, what do you think will be, in your opinion, the release date for the full game? Like a legit working game, since you already follow the progress, etc. would be nice to know. Full release of Star Citizen. On the shelf release of Star Citizen. This will probably be after they've got full persistence, full progression, permanent progression in game anyway. So after beta, when they can consider a 1.0 live release of the game. 2024? Realistically, 2024 would be my guess. What do you think will... Oh no, that's literally the one I just went. Why not give owners of multiple game packages chance to exchange the packs for standalone ships and use the difference for a game packs to give to friends, both with the same insurance? Maybe. We'll see what CIG's saying, what makes sense. What makes you believe we might see salvaging as early as 4.1? Because it was on the roadmap for 4.0 and they moved it off. And I believe that it would... people were so grumpy about it that it's got to be a reasonable priority. I mean, it is just... The first iteration is just mining hulls. But maybe they want to roll in physicalized components with it as well. And have you being able to remove components as part of salvage. Sort of makes sense. You know, the building blocks UI will be in-game. So it's going to be done in step, if you read the monthly report. So you'll start to see bits of it in 3.9 onwards. If you had a Reclaimer, would you upgrade to Crytek? That is a really hard decision, because they are two of my favourite ships in the game, gameplay-wise. Well, when they have proper gameplay. Depends. If you want to go treasure hunting and salvaging more, you have to go for the Reclaimer. If you want to go exploring more and more multi-role, then go for the Crytek. If you think you're going to get into combat when doing what you do regularly in ship, then it's probably better to go for the Crytek, in my opinion. Instead of artificially going with a silly idea, you can't fire missiles over a certain speed. How about the gravity mechanic? Gravity slows down the ship by mass, either by G-mine or G-ship. Maybe. I don't know about stuff like that until it's in my hands to test, and I can only give my opinion. I'm only a representative of me when it comes to what I like in-game or what I think is a good idea. You feel the prison will be good enough at deterring most griefers, or will it just be a minor nuisance to griefers? Once it's balanced properly, I think it will... it needs to be dealt with differently. So griefing is something you don't want in-game. But people being naughty boys, being criminals, and actually trying to do criminal gameplay and piracy properly, you do want in-game. And they will want to avoid prison. So once it's balanced, it will be sort of like, ugh, got caught. But the thing is, in 3.9, when prisons get released, people are going to want to do the prison gameplay. So there's going to be a mad sort of like murder rush, I would expect. You've got no button at all. I don't know. Click on the support site. There might be a known problem. Board, when do you think we'll see something akin to housing in the Star Citizen universe? So really we need, in my opinion, disguised inventories and full persistence. And potentially even server meshing before we see that. We need at least full persistence though, because they need to be able to save the data of the customizations of the houses and all that sort of stuff. So it's going to be a little while. Do you know if they'll release mixing armor with clothing, armors with trench coats, etc.? So at the moment, the systems they use for this is that you can put things on attachment points on armor. So you will have like accessories that you'll be able to put on top of armor in some situations, which are distinctly different from like civilian clothing, like maybe capes and things like that, and whatever. And other things, armor might have some of the stuff attached already. Now that there's a $35,000 game package, do you think CIG will make a $35,000 concierge level? Oh, maybe. I don't fucking know. That stuff's stupid. They don't need to increase the concierge levels anymore. Why do you think the Super Hornet has less missile points than the base F7C? Does it? I didn't realise it did. Well, actual hard point difference. I didn't know it did. That is silly. You look amazing, thanks. Basing off Jeff Hardy's question, why not make it so that we can fire missiles? We can fire missiles at high speeds, and they get extra range, but due to the speed, both you and the missile have problems maneuvering. Yeah, they're gonna do some changes to the high speed stuff. So we know that, well, in the Star Citizen leaks, it was said you basically can't fire missiles over SCM speeds. Yeah, they do need a match speed interaction function for ships, for sure. Any word on what the M50 improvements will do? So I think they're doing some light, like materials lighting, all that sort of stuff, rework on it. They're doing the landing gear, I know for sure, but I expect it to get a little tiny tweak to bring it in line with the rest of the 300 series of ships, or the Origin series of ships. Not a huge rework, but a little tiny one. A little bit of updates. What would you think could make Star Citizen create a more MMO feeling? Ignoring player count, full persistence, permanent progression, meaningful choices, and dynamic economy, dynamic missions. There's a huge amount of stuff that Star Citizen needs before it's an MMO. More meaningful procedural content. Lots of stuff. Lots of its bugs ironed out as well to make it more playable. Squadron 42 is the next big release in terms of game time. Do you think it will crack time ceilings like Skyrim or games like Mass Effect? I don't think it's going to be as long as those games. I'm expecting 30 to 40 hours. Why do you think it's so hard to make the AI be affected by weather? It's the visual. So I don't think it's hard to overly affect. Okay, so the AI in general will need to work out what's going on with weather built into its sort of like what's a safe route to go, all that sort of stuff, and how that's affecting them in combat, things like that. Probably, I mean, I wouldn't be able to code anything like that ever in my entire life, but obviously the people can, and that's probably not too hard. However, what's probably hard is the visual element of it. Like, how does it affect their sight in the same way it affects a player's sight? Do you see what I mean? And to do that correctly and accurately. Hey boss, good morning from US board. Have some money? Thank you very much.
Knows the game that well. Keep up the great work. Stinky cheese.
Wow. Okay. So people saying money and stinky cheese. Have some money. Vehicle in vehicle spawning coming with 3.8.2 or 3.9. Love you, man. So it looks like vehicle in vehicle spawning potentially for 3.9. There was some leaks about that, and they've talked about it a bit more. And it looks like they are working on vehicle in vehicle spawning for that. So I think it was also in the newsletter. So thank you very much, Phobos. Much appreciated. And Doggy HD, you are the only one I know who knows the game that well. Keep up the great work. Stinky cheese. Appreciated. I just research it every day, that's all. I mean, I'm sure I get some bits wrong. But I think I'm one of the most researched people at Star Citizen, from what CIG have said. Is server-side object container streaming implemented in 3.8? Yes. but it's not working as intended. They're still iterating and dialing it in. There's lots of other optimizations they have made as well, which they are waiting for server-side object container streaming to be dialed in better, so that they have sustained server tick rates of 30 plus. And then there's a lot of stuff they can do with delay and prediction and all this sort of stuff. Removing the sort of like stutter and odd animations and desync. Did anything happen with those audio snippets that were coming from the terminals around the persistent universe? I haven't heard anything about it after CitizenCon. No, there's nothing really we've seen from that yet. I appreciate all the love. Thank you, thank you. So for people that want to go and watch it, CIG are doing something about bobbleheads at Game Dev Live. I suspect they're making some bobbleheads. In like 5 minutes, so you can feel free to watch that. I'm not gonna hold that against you if you want to go do that. I will go for a little bit longer and have a chat, and then drop you over on that in a bit. You act like a bobblehead. I'd be a fucking amazing bobblehead. They wouldn't even have to make my head extra comedy large. It already is. When are you becoming an NPC in Star Citizen? As soon as I'm able to get my head scanned, as soon as they announce that they're doing that again or whatever, I will go out of my way to have it done. I'd love to be a mission giver. Love to be in the game in any way, shape or form. Like, this is, I genuinely think, going to be a great game and sort of like a historical project for the gaming industry. We have the Javelin and Idris and Bengal confirmed in different stages of development. Do you think we'll see something this year about the Super Dreadnought Retribution? I think it's probably actually being built in Squadron 42 Episode 1. Sort of like at the shipyard, ship dock sort of thing. But I think we might see something on it. Even if it's just some pictures. Will there be animals in game? Yes. That we can farm or kill? Yes. You can certainly be able to kill them. I'm not sure to what level you can farm them or hunt them, or what value they have. I'm hoping that we can farm them as well and have them in our own little farms. And there's going to be pets in the game as one of the plans. And the devs have previously talked about moving animals around in appropriate cargo containers, which have like the atmosphere that they're supposed to have in them. Oh dear, there's lots of... Oh. Do you believe the physicalized inventory system would be much like the system in Tarkov? I think it might have some elements of that, actually. It's going to be appropriate items in the appropriate slots and appropriate amount of space in your pockets and backpack. Valve is a private company versus the others, which are public companies. Yeah, and Valve... Valve have gone the other end of that, which they don't really release games. Half-Life Alyx, yes. They don't really release games in the same way. Will CIG use the facecam optional to get a facial correct image for us? I don't believe that's the plan, no. Only the actual... your face will be used to drive another character's face, but it's not... and you might be able to make your face pretty accurately with all the tools available, but there's no sort of like take a picture, it puts you in game. Do you think the Captain's Quarters of the Carrack will get a rework? I suspect it has more work since the CitizenCon and whenever else it was shown. Wasn't Squadron 42 planned to come out in episodes? So they've effectively gone Squadron 42 episode 1 and then added another 2 additional episodes, which are their own additional AAA games. But yes, it's coming out in 3 episodes, but they're not splitting down the chapters or anything. Squadron 42 episode 1 is still the full game. And then Star Citizen's Distant Universe is separate from that. Is Hit Reg bugged at the moment? Yes, and there's desync. And there's lots of problems with the servers and HitReg. I talk about it reasonably regularly. Not that you should necessarily know that. I talk about it reasonably regularly. I'm just saying it's something that I've noticed regularly as well. Regular salted butter on bread is good or bad idea. Source of good fats or bad fats. A bit of butter and honey goes a long way. As long as you're not overdoing it with the butter. Like, there's a lot of saturated fat in butter. But I mean, a little bit of saturated fat's not terrible for you. Butter is probably the only saturated fat I have during the day in any amount. A little bit of butter on my toast. My low carb toast. I'm 41 but have no kids, to make me younger. What? That makes you very lucky. With the transmissions head and polar surge, you expect to see an incursion of rebels soon. So yeah, I'm assuming that's something to do with the pyro system and enemies coming in from pyro or some events happening from there. But we don't know. We don't know for sure yet. Which would win in a fight, Reclaimer or Carrack? I would assume the Carrack. Potentially the Reclaimer if it rammed the Carrack. Do you think we'll ever get some kind of rework and or resolution to lifetime insurance? At some point, they will describe in more detail what the insurance systems are and what lifetime insurance actually means. I suspect that lifetime insurance will just cover the hull of your ship to a small degree, or to some degree, but insurance will eventually, I suspect, be able to cover your cargo, all your changes to your ship, and your components and that sort of stuff. That's what's going to cause a large portion of your insurance. It's going to be, you've got military A-grade components. They are expensive. They might be more valuable than your entire hull of your ship. Do you think we'll get the Odin system when Squadron 42 comes out? Or soon thereafter? I think that it's... Yeah, within like a couple of quarters, yeah. A quarter or two. Will the network issues ever truly be resolved? Hopefully, yes. They are getting better and better and better with their sort of like tech for this stuff. It's obviously a problem. Do you think we will be getting more information on the iCache, the item cache? Do you think they will integrate it before server meshing? Yes. Yeah. They'll be integrating the iCache before full persistence. And they want to get full persistence in the item cache in this year. Will we get the ability to put our ships into autopilot and tell it to orbit a planet by itself? Not as far as I'm aware. They sort of like don't really want autopilots and stuff. You could get a NPC pilot to do that for you, though, to some extent. Speaking of gravity, do you think that planets and asteroids will have proper gravity wells, allowing us to turn off engines and use gravity to slingshot our ships? I don't believe so, but they are tweaking things. There are going to be planets and orbiting the stars and moons orbiting the planets and stuff soon. Some of that stuff they want to get in. With CIG talking about player interaction from the video yesterday, how soon do you think that we'll be able to give credits to another directly as beacons at times fail? So, wallet-to-wallet transactions, being able to pay other people directly or give money to another character directly, I think was going to be part of the Mobiglass accountancy app, which they removed from 3.9. I would hope to see it by the end of the year, though. Considering the cargo nerfs to the Carrack, what do you expect the SCU of the banning merchantman end up being? I don't know. It depends on how they do stuff. You've got to remember the banning merchantman's not supposed to be a pure cargo hauler. It is a trade and shop ship. So it's like a trading bazaar. It's got shops on board which you can come and access. So those shops are also going to have their own cargo grids. It's obviously going to have quite a bit of cargo, but it might not have thousands and thousands and thousands. At release, we'll be able to choose our home planet. I believe you'll be able to choose your starting planet from a certain list of them. Where your like starting hangar is. I appreciate all the love. Thank you. Thank you. Do you think hand mining tool will get a scanner so it can pick up all stray pieces that I miss? I think there is going to be FPS scanning more generally for like scanning players, scanning the environments, scanning ships, that sort of stuff, based on your gear. And one of the things they talked about with the removal of the bounty hunter armor from the roadmap is they wanted meaningful choices and gameplay associated with this armor. So I think maybe scanners and things like that is one of the things they're thinking of. So to some extent, yes, FPS scanning, yeah, potentially highlighting valuables. Has CIG said anything about changing the referral rewards, maybe adding lower tiers? They've talked about it. Expect some stuff in the future. Question, cheers from Boston. How much do you currently have to spend on the game to access a concierge? Concierge is for people that have spent $1,000 or more on the game. Stupid money on a video game. In my opinion, you spend it what you want. Also, I'm 3 times stupid because I've spent at least $3,000 on myself, my own ships for the game. Since we don't have class levels, how are they thinking about character progression in the persistent universe, if any? Reputation systems and general adventuring, your amount of equipment, ships, and money you have. That's all sort of like stuff that's going to be advancing you. But mission givers will have a reputation with you. Factions can have a reputation with you. Stuff that you've built, general toil. Some people have $5,000 invested in the game. Some people have $45 invested. Based on the current pricing of video games, how much do you think the release version of Star Citizen Persistent Universe will be worth? I mean, for most people, $60 probably. For me, it's worth a lot more than that. It's different for the different people. If you actually look at the Star Citizen account to money spent curve, I think it's like between $85 and $90 per account, so maybe $90. But I would suggest that most people spend $45 and buy just a starter package. You don't need any more. Do you think we will be able to store suits in the Crytek on release, or are we waiting for weather for 3.9? That's a good point. I don't think on release. I think there's going to be some of that player status system stuff and weather mechanics. So the actual temperature is going to affect us in 3.9, but I'm still not sure if we're going to be able to store suits in the Crytek in 3.9. They might add it. I would expect that a little bit later though, but this year at some point, I think that's part of physicalized inventories. Do you think we'll ever get some kind of rework? Or that's what we talked about that already. You look smart boy with big frame. Thanks. Should on a larger ship, one of the co-pilot seats be tactical seat? Tactical seat targets all immediate threats for everyone who's a gunner, also targeting subsystems of attacking ships and torpedoes. I think that some of those MFDs and seats and stuff might have that functionality if someone wants to do that as a sort of like relaying that sort of stuff, and maybe even launching countermeasures and things. But yeah, I suspect that people working out how they want to run these ships is going to be a significant part of the multi-crew gameplay stuff. Should on a larger ship, that's literally what I just talked about, oh my god. Do you think the cartography globe in the Crytek will be useful? Yeah, so I think in the future, the holotables, hologlobes, whatever they are, the mapping tables, they will have function in the future. They want command and control for certain ships. They want plotting for certain ships. They want to have some of this stuff visualized. But some of this stuff is certainly going to have genuine function and use. Others might just look cool. Do you feel that Chris Roberts' tendency to focus on things like bartenders and working coffee makers has hurt development, or do you think Star Citizen would be better off if his job was diminished? I think Chris is good for keeping stuff within the vision. I think that they have prioritized certain things that I personally wouldn't have. However, there may be a greater purpose for this. Like getting the bartenders and social AI in might be part of Squadron 42, and they're just sort of like putting it in for the persistent universe as well, if you see what I mean. They're just editing it and tweaking it for Squadron and persistent universe at the sort of same time. So I do think there's inefficiency, yeah, and some of that's disappointing. But I also don't know enough to know, is Chris still a terrible micromanager, or is he just keeping stuff within vision and more checking concepts and the first iterations of gameplay loops to make sure that they're in sort of like working of his vision, which I think is fair enough. But thank you very much, James Hollyby. Hoiby. With your interest in Star Citizen, do you follow IRL space news such as SpaceX? I look at SpaceX stuff and Starlink occasionally. Obviously, Starlink will be amazing for the world if Elon Musk can get it done. What's your take on Starlink global internet versus astronomy? I mean, I love the idea of Starlink. I think Elon Musk himself is a genuinely shining light of what you should do if you've got a fuck ton of money. Try and improve the world and do cool stuff. The chat with CIG is very unhappy with that offering today. They're just doing bobblehead flare stuff. I mean, they probably wanted to do Cornell devs this week, but might not have had enough footage done for it. Oh, my voice is more soothing than Jared's. I appreciate that. Oh. Right, bear with me 1 second, because I need to pee. And my hot water bottle has run out of heat. We're not going to refill that. That'll take too much time. But bear with me 1 second. What? Good? We're good? Good chat. Oof. Oh, sorry. Right, what else have we got here? Any updates when we'll be able to get the Cutlass Red in-game? It's in-game. Oh, do you mean purchase it in-game from like a shop? I don't know when they're putting certain ships in-game to rent and to buy. I haven't even checked to see if it was available to rent and buy. Oh, I've slipped. I'll have a look. Was there any information, additional information on why Crytek is gone from the PE roadmap? I think because it's going to be put in, or they finished a lot of it off already, as far as I was aware. Expand on man station, tactical stations, assigned personnel. Yeah, I suspect you'll be able to command NPCs and gunners and stuff to protect your ship, and then have someone that sort of like organises and relays what to do. When do you think we'll see planets and moons actually move in their orbits? It's something they want to put in. Something they wanted to put in for a while. They've got the dynamic quantum splines as well that they need to deal with that as well. But I think they've worked a lot of that out already. How much value do you currently put on CIG's subscription model? $5 a month would be how much I think it's worth, personally. Less than they currently charge. I think. Say part of this is because I know they get, well, it looks like they get over $3.2 million a year from their subscription model, and it's supposed to be partly, at least, or largely, from my point of view, for video content. I just don't think they put enough video content out. Give me that money. Give me that money. I will have a team of people dedicated to making Star Citizen content. I mean, it might not be as accurate as CIG's because they're in the studios. I go a studio tour every week. Got that money? Not that I don't think what Jared does is good. Like, I do like Inside Star Citizen, though I do think they're a bit overly short sometimes. Star Citizen Live is good. Sometimes it's not as good as other times. The game dev live streams, the game dev ones where they do like a mechanic and talk about some stuff. Sometimes they're amazing, and sometimes they're just a bit naff. Bits and misses, but I want more. I want Calling All Devs and Star Citizen Live every week. I want Inside Star Citizen. I also want a roadmap update. I suppose I'm actually quite happy with the way they do the roadmap updates now. But a ship showdown every 2 weeks would be good, or every month. A development update every month, which is a bit more sort of like looking through what all the studios are doing. We've got the roadmap and stuff. I mean, but I feel that CIG should be doing more content. Do you think the Theatres of War game mode will eventually allow for coordinated ground and space assaults in the persistent universe? I think it will help aid towards that. It's supposed to be a cross-section of that, isn't it? It's supposed to be a sort of like, nom nom, this is a pie of what an assault and defense should be if organized well in the persistent universe from both teams. However, a lot of the assaults in the persistent universe, in my opinion, especially the larger scale ones, are going to be when one of the sides is less ready than the other. One side is going to bring their full force in like a big org battle, bam, and attack a less than prepared side of the enemy. At least that's my expectation. We'll check out the People Hornets missile hard points and stuff. I expect they'll just get balanced again at some point. What else have we got? Have they confirmed how soon we might be able to spawn vehicles inside snubs and bigger ships yet? So it looks like it might be for 3.9. What's going on here? Bear with me 1 second. We've apparently lost music. Oh well. Did you remember to wash your hands? Always. Wash your hands! You're an Evocati. Is the Crytek as dumb looking in game as it is in the screenshots? We don't have access to the Crytek yet. There's no Evocati patch currently out, as far as I'm aware. Chris Roberts will make Chris Roberts games. This is true. Seeing the Corsairs load out, the Redeemer looks mild. The Redeemer's getting a full reconcepting and rework. When do you think we'll see it with its full power level be up to something like the Corsairs, since it's supposed to be a gunship? It's being reworked. We don't know what that reconcept's going to be beyond its probably still Aegis, and it's more gun in the word gunship. Will the game not end up in the same situation as EVE Online with big alliances dominating and owning everything? That is a good question, and potentially we don't know how CIG are going to balance that. At the moment, there is no organisation size limit either. That's madness. And test is ridiculously huge, and they need to do some stuff to deal with that. Do you think that if we stopped asking for more content, could we be more ahead in the game, or is that Chris Roberts just thinking too hard? There's certainly an element of people and the community influencing what CIG do next and what they prioritize. But it coulda, woulda, shoulda. We don't know. We don't know what we don't know, and we can't say would we be further ahead if we did this. Well, maybe not. When will we finally be able to keep our gear and purchased equipment? Will this happen in 2020? So expect less and less resets in 2020, and when we have full persistence, even less. Permanent progression will be at some point, but permanent progression will not be in 2020. So we will still have resets, just less of them, is the plan anyway. Has the quantum travel through the planet bug been fixed yet? No, I believe it still happens occasionally at the Age of Planets. Do you think this is fun for a part-time player? Yeah. Still want to be part of an org, in my opinion. You're do you think we'll ever get a Mobigas app to remote control our ships? I don't think we'll have it to that sort of degree. CIG will be looking at the potential of opening maybe some doors remotely, or that sort of stuff. They talked about maybe having ships, like shuttles, move between ship and ground, but I still think that's going to have to be done with NPC and pilot. Would the functionality of the Constellation snub require ship to station to be implemented? No, ship to ship to be implemented. When will dropships get external loudspeakers so we can blast the enemy and that they can get ready to die? I think they did want internal tannoys and security systems for ships. So maybe that's not such a crazy thing. Is a known bug that the Connie HUD is disappearing during flight? Yes, HUDs can disappear. What I'm trying to convey is if you target your ship on your screen, see what you targeted, and I shoot your display target priority because on my screen I see what you're targeting for me to kill. Sorry, I don't follow exactly, but I do feel that there will be. I mean, you can see where turret gunners are pointing at the moment. I do think that you'll be able to see what other people are seeing, and you'll be able to see their targets, and you'll be able to have positions and MFDs and potentially a role on ship to coordinate that. Does anyone know what that Twitter drum was referring to? Was it a TV show guy that showed the VoIP issue? Yes, it was James S.A. Corey, which is the pen name of the Expanse writers. They one of them at least was playing Star Citizen. Camera came on. It's bug in 3.8.1. It turns on VoIP by default. It shouldn't, and this caused privacy anger. And he was like, "Rah, uninstalling." And then CIG got back to him eventually and said, "Sorry, it's a known bug." And he went, "Okay, cool. I'm starting uninstalling it though." But lots of media outlets picked up on it as Star Citizen fans attack the creator of the Expanse. And I was like, what? I didn't see that at all. On Reddit, if you look at Reddit, angry people that are like drama queens and occasionally, yeah, you can find like the odd comment there, that's rude. But it was just weird. It was just weird. It was a non-starter, really, as a story. It boils down to someone plays Star Citizen that's not hasn't played it before. Camera comes on, they're angry about possible privacy complaint, and rightly so. It is a bug in game. and it is something that shouldn't happen because, you know, express permissions, and it would worry some people, I mean, especially the security conscious. CIG need to fix it. CIG said they're going to fix it, and it's no bug. That's the end of the story. With prison gameplay coming out, what do you think would make the pirate lawless gameplay better, as it's not kind of rewarding for the risk at the moment? They need more things to smuggle, they need the ability to sell stolen ships, they need permanent progression, they need a system and gameplay associated with pirates and breaking the law to be much more expansive. They need proper bounty hunting, they need proper escorts, they need those escort missions. There's a huge amount they need to get in game for all of that to really make viable sense. The changes to quantum travel and fuel have made small ships and fighters much less desirable than medium and large ships. Do you see CIG making a change again to make them more useful in the PU? I mean, you can just... It's much more quantum drive based now. So you can just change your quantum drive for whatever your needs you have. Is there currently any use for the cutting torch attachment for the multi-tool? I mean, you can damage doors to cause them to be opened for, like, breaking into some of the ships. But you could just do that with a weapon anyway. Right, what else we got? Anything else? What is your opinion on Tau, or Theatres of War, looking like PlanetSide 2 in some aspects? Yeah, I mean, it's certainly combined arms, but it's a much more arcade experience in a smaller section with a set player base. PlanetSide, one of the joys of that was that it's factional and everyone's sort of like chucked on the same server, which Theatres of War is much more like Battlefield 5 objective-based Rush or Unreal Tournament 2003, 2004 objective-based sort of thing. It's obviously got the scale of Star Citizen, sort of, like they can have space to ground, and then it's very action and arcadey though. But you can certainly draw comparisons with PlanetSide 2 because PlanetSide 2 is one of the original sort of combined arms games to that scale. I think it's 18,000 members, I think Tester's got already. Correct me if I'm wrong. What was the result of the server max player increase stress test? Any info on that? They tested with 60 players, and they had good data from that, and it seemed to work well. They're dialing in server-side object container streaming at the moment, so they are doing optimizations and getting lots of stuff for that done, and then they'll be experimenting more with the player server cap, I believe. What is your control setup board? So I have a Roccat Vulcan 100 keyboard and a Logitech G502 mouse. That is my preferred way of playing the game at the moment because of just ease of access from filming to camera control to FPS to ship. You can just do it all very quickly and easily, alt-tabbing, filming, all this sort of stuff. If I was playing Star Citizen without any form of recording, I would probably use my Constellation Verpal HOTAS. Constellation Delta is amazing, in my opinion. They've got a new one, which I haven't grabbed yet. I think Nubify's done a review of it, though. I'll probably grab the grips. I assume I can just grab one of the grips to replace one of mine. And see what it's like. Should be cool. Looking forward to that. Verpal, probably the best joystick manufacturer for something like Star Citizen, in my opinion. Although you might have a preference yourself. What are your thoughts on the planned Xi'an cargo ship? What size will it be? I believe it's a small to medium size. We need a Xi'an cargo ship at some point. Is Orgs 2.0 still going to be a thing? They actually talked basically about this, at least some of this, in Inside Star Citizen. They talked about the group system. They're improving groups, contacts, and friends systems so that you can join lobbies and join the game together. And this is going to be sort of like unified between Spectrum and in-game eventually. So they are building more and more and more group systems and then org systems into the game. So they are working on that, but we don't know at what pace. What are your thoughts? We talked about that. Any word on CIG making the Connie's lights not so bright? I would expect them to, well, I'd hope them to make a lot of the ship's lights not blind me when I sort of like go around on my camera. They're brighter than the sun sometimes. What is currently or going to be your focus in Star Citizen? So what I will mostly do, probably, economy, trade, industry gameplay, that sort of stuff, building bases, exploiting wealth and salvage and stuff. Less combat, but some combat. But I will want to do a little bit of everything in Star Citizen, because I will be covering it as effectively a job. What is the one thing Elite Dangerous does well that you'd like to see Star Citizen and see Star Citizen do and find inspiration from? Oh, no, I'm stuttering. Oh, I'm pretty tired. So, Elite's actual released game, which is good. I'd like Star Citizen to, release something that's not super buggy. I think Elite will work to deadlines a lot better than the CIG does. And that would be my thing. Like, scale stuff back, maybe. You don't have to have it super developed. Like, giving us a load more systems now, giving us a load more gameplay loops, even if they're quite shallow, would have probably been better in the short term, in my opinion, for Star Citizen. Maybe it won't be in the long term. Maybe it will be such an amazing game. I'll be like, oh my god, they did the development perfectly and adequately, and oh, now that I've got it in my hands, I can see what they were trying to do. But at the moment, there's certainly things that I would have done differently. But hindsight and not knowing the full picture. How much do you think full persistence and player cap is restricting the current systems in game at the moment? Do you agree with people that think that this should be the main priority at the moment? It should be something that CIG are working on. I again, as I said, I'm not the person working on the game. I relay news and talk about my opinions and stuff, and I don't know with everything. That's for sure. I do think that I would like less resets, and full persistence would be fucking great. Modern gamers. So just wondering, what are your thoughts on the atmospheric combat, high-speed additions to the mechanics? What do you think will change? I think more Avenger Titans flying. So so in the leaks, you can see that they had plans for missiles not being able to be used above SCM speeds. But I suspect your ship will generate more heat in atmospheric combat. Your thrusters will be a lot weaker, so they'll spend a lot more time holding your position, and you actually get a mixture between the sort of flight assist and hover mode that we previously had. Since you're sort of going to be a news figure in Star Citizen, are you going to pick up a new ship? Yes. Even though I don't like the Reliance, I will get the Mako. Hopefully there'll be other ships that allow you to do the same sort of gameplay mechanics, whatever they may be. I think people tend to forget that trees are living creatures. They're sort of like dogs. Huge, quiet, motionless dogs with bark instead of fur. They still have a bark. Why does the Idris M cost $1,000 and the Idris P cost 1,500? Because the Idris M was only sold once, I believe, and hasn't need to go up in price because it will never be sold again. I think that's the idea. But the Idris P has been sold again. Hi, just got Star Citizen. What do you recommend on how to make money? Take missions. Take missions in your local planetary system. I would do missions from Port Olisar, such as clearing out NPCs in Security Post Korea. And bounty hunting missions. So mercenary missions, go and murder people nearby. Those are the ones I do for quick, easy cash. You're not a question. Follow up on the Theatres of War and PlanetSide 2. How do you feel about the overall FPS experience evolving, going into the route of FPS combat once it's all settled? I think it's an important part of the game, FPS combat. It's going to be interesting and weird to balance because persistent universe combat is going to be very different from a balanced game combat. Star Citizen does not have to be balanced in the way people think it needs to be balanced. You just can't have stuff totally owning one thing without exception. Otherwise, everyone will always have that. There needs to be different tools for different uses, different reasons that you have different items and gear. However, in Theatres of War, loadouts and stuff, you can choose your sort of like class, but it's just a different loadout. But there's only going to be a limited amount, so they're pre-balanced. So and it's in very enclosed situations. You know that people are coming for you at a specific time. In the persistent universe, you could attack people while they're all sleeping. Do you see what I mean? Right. I might dash off in a second, and I can leave you with the bobblehead Star Citizen. Oh man, so this is what's currently going on the Star Citizen stream. They're making a little bobblehead boy, with a little scar on his face. Lovely. This is what you wanted from game development, right? Sure, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. People like this. But yes. Any other quick questions before I dash? Hello. Everyone's doing well. But I am going to dash off in a second. I will answer the last few questions I see. I haven't talked about the value measurement, no. So Crytek, the Crytek v CIG case was supposed to be ruled on by now. They're supposed to have a ruling for the motion to dismiss. But apparently Crytek and Star Citizen People's CIG have made progress in potential settlement talks, or whatever that might be. And the court will make a ruling on the 21st of February now, unless they come to an agreement or settlement before then. So it's been a bit of delay to that, but by 2 weeks. So we'll have to wait and see. It'd be nice if it's just a settlement and they can just both go their own separate ways. Hopefully we'll know what that settlement is. Probably won't. I would expect it to be just the $500,000 bond going to CIG. I suspect they want to be reasonably aggressive what they want, because the court looked like they were genuinely siding with CIG, or at least what I mean by that is Crytek's case looked very, very, very weak, and it looked like the court was going to side with them, in my opinion. Again, not a lawyer, but can you go over how permadeath is supposed to work? So the idea is that when we have death of a space spanning game, permanent progression, you can permanently die in the game. So when you die normally, so you've got like a certain amount of lives. Basically, even if your ship explodes and you get sucked out into space, because of the medical level of the year, they can bring you back. But you'll get more and more and more damaged, and you'll start to get visibly scarred, and maybe you'll get like an arm replaced with a mechanical one or whatever. Not mechanical one, but by whatever. Fuck a mechanical one. Giant claw. Not a giant claw. That's not a thing. But after a time, you will permanently die. You might have 30 lives or something. And the idea there is that you'll then have to make another character, but you get all of the assets that your previous character had, like the next of kin. There might be some form of loss, like death tax, or reputation loss is the most expected one. But they need to balance that as well, because you don't want to just be able to go, well, I'm a super criminal and I've got billions of dollars of bounties on my head. I'll just kill my character and create a new one. Problem solved. You don't want that sort of thing, so there needs to be a lot of balance there. We'll have to wait and see exactly how CIG do that, but I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, so that's basically it. There might be ways to ensure your character's life further. There might be ways of rejuvenating your lives. We don't know yet. When will Evocadi come out? I would expect a 3.8.2 patch at the earliest at the end of next week, but probably in the middle of the week after. So between middle and 2/3 of the way into February. I do think the cartography globe in the holo table or whatever, the mapping table, they will have some form of use. I mean, some of this stuff might just be pretty, but it should have some form of function and use as well. How are you preparing for the inevitable apocalypse? I am getting a little breathable face mask, and I've stocked up on loads of Lemsip max strength. But sorts the men from the boys. That's what the advert said, which is now sexist. So go team. If a mantis interdicts while being inside a capital ship, will that still work? Nope. Can't interdict. A ship inside another ship can't use its interdiction, or an EMP. That's basically what CIG have said anyway. Whether you think CIG have got Crytek bang to rights, it might still be cheaper for CIG to come to some form of settlement with Crytek, with them guaranteeing they won't bring a motion forward in the future. There's no surefire way the court won't say, well, we're dismissed without prejudice, so that Crytek could bring it back in the future. There's no surefire way that CIG would both get their expenses paid for beyond that $500,000 bond either. So if Crytek went, we'll pay your $500,000, we'll give you the $500,000 bond, and we're dismissed with prejudice, yeah, that's something like that. So I have to wait and see. I mean, it's Crytek's lawyers and them acting as a business now, so I wouldn't be too angry at Crytek for doing whatever they're doing. I just, look at it more of sort of like what's in their best interest to do financially. And that's the way they look at it. Are you heading to TwitchCon this year? I wasn't planning on it. Someone did offer me to be able to, I think, stay at their house in Amsterdam, or wherever the hell it was. I mean, maybe. I mean, Moist Noodle wanted me to go. I need to talk to Moist Noodle and Detox and potentially organise a bar citizen down in like Brighton or something. That'd be good laugh. What else we got? I like your content. Thanks. How do you see it? I like the Kraken, privateer, but I'm not interested to buy her for real money. The ship is a game goal to earn for me. Would you buy? I wouldn't buy it. I'd get it in game, like you said. Potentially get an organisation to help you do that in the future, or get a group of people that want to also get the Kraken privateer and work together to get it together. Do you think there's a scope for CIG or modded game episode that takes place solely inside a large capital ship like the Bengal? I think that people will be making mods for Star Citizen eventually. They've said they wanted modding and private servers eventually. That's the sort of stuff I would expect. Do you know when the Gladius-style HUD and ship boot up method will spread to other ships? They are working on it in STEP, the new HUD building block system and interactive and tactile sort of buttons and things. They are going to be doing that from 3.9 onwards. So from patch to patch, you'll see more and more updates there. Will we be seeing more ship tours and tutorials on the channel? Yes, as the game evolves over 2020. Morphologist may be eloquent, but I see the man locking himself in space toilets. I do. I've got a brain for maps. I know, and for making notes. I know that. But yes, I want to do more tangible in-game content, play in-game stuff, look at in-game guides, look at what the meta is. I'm very poor at the meta personally at the moment, but I want to get into a state in the near future, especially when Star Citizen gets more and more mainstream, that I can talk about the meta quite confidently and say, this is the best for this, and this is the best for this, and this is how I do this, and this is the min-max for this type of mission, and all that sort of stuff. But generally over 2020, yeah, more ship tours, more gameplay mechanics actually played, more gameplay actually played, and like I'll do a whole series on prison gameplay is the plan. When do you think we'll get lockable interior doors? They want a permission system and security systems for ships that will allow you to set permissions for certain people to be able to open certain doors without, hacking or otherwise breaking into them. Thoughts on when we might see the Hull series? Well, Hull C has been made for Squadron 42's needs, but we need the morphing physics grids and ship-to-station docking and the cargo improvements before we get it in-game. Potentially could see that towards the end of the year, and then the other Hull series come on with that or after that, probably after that. A patch or two after that. That'll be my expectation. Right, anything else? Are combat knives an improvement for game flair from the load of t-shirts? Yeah, why not? I mean, they're just silly items. I would rather like really cool things, like a sword or something like a giant glowy knife or the skull helmet with the new shaders and stuff in it. Like I want something that's a little bit more elaborate for in-game flair for subs, if you're trying to encourage me to sub because of that. Or make more video content. Right. I'm going to go. Thank you very much for all the subs, all the donations, for all the super chats. Very much appreciated. If people want to further support the stream, you can become a YouTube member by clicking on the join button. You can donate directly. You can just like and subscribe or share videos or give me feedback at contact@boardgamer.co.uk. Join the Discord, become Patreon. All of that stuff really, really helps the channel. And I am massively community supported, which is super appreciated because I get to play games for a living effectively, which is pretty awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much for watching today. Very much appreciated. Oh, we've got some more questions, which I will quickly answer. When do you think the building blocks will be implemented from patch to patch, 3.9 onwards? We'll see more and more of the building blocks UI and HUD improvements. Do you think we are going to spend the entire first 3.9 patch in prison because of a bug? No, but I do think that a lot of people will try and immediately get to prison. I do think there will be a bit of hell around a lot of the landing zones. People probably pad ramming to get into prisons and stupid stuff. So bear that in mind. With all the barriers and game mechanics being built up against piracy, how do you see piracy gameplay progressing in the persistent universe? Well, they sort of like need the pyro system, which is lawless, and they need huge risk and reward when it comes to piracy. You want that sort of like piracy feel when you're a pirate, that you got away with it and you made a good amount of money, but it was very risky. So they just need that sort of balanced well, and the potential for people to react and help and get the pirate. But you also need the cargo, being able to actually take cargo out of their ships and potentially even be able to sell stolen ships and all this sort of stuff. So and really need physicalized components so you can disable ships properly. But yeah. There was a down in downsize of the cargo capacity. Yeah, I mean, so it's 456 split into 352 SCU pods. Those pods might be swappable out for other modules in the future, which looks cool. What's your position? My position is that the Crytek is still a focused exploration ship for the most part, which it still does, and the Crytek has got still a huge amount of cargo space. And other ships will see a shrinking of that number. Like the SCU has changed effectively how it works. So the reason you're seeing ships decrease in SCU size is partly because of that. How do you keep making all the amazing content? I just make content. I wouldn't say it's particularly amazing. It's real. It's quick. It's lazily edited, but it is well researched at least. I think. I'm glad you enjoy it. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Right. There's that. They're still building bobbleheads, Facepalm. Well, now you can enjoy those bobbleheads together. Do you think in the future we'll have better ways to pay gunners and escorts? Yes. In fact, I actually think that's something we'll see this year. Expansions to that, both NPC-based missions, PvE missions, but also potentially different ways of the expansion out of the service beacon system and player missions. But we'll have to wait and see if that actually is something that's going to be happening. I would hope to see the accountancy app this year. It was moved off of 3.9, and I'm hoping that allows for player-to-player, wallet-to-wallet transactions. But yes, thank you very much for watching. Very much appreciated. I love you guys a lot because, you effectively pay me by watching me, which is very much appreciated. And if you've got an organisation you want me to check out, or an event or anything, message me again, contact@boardgamer.co.uk, or go on my Discord, discord.gg/boardgamer, message me there, and I would love to take a look at it. Lots of people have asked me about stuff that is coming in the near future for the channel, and Orc Spotlight is something I want to bring back. Let us /raid Raddy. Actually, is there someone else restreaming this that's one of my friends? Or someone I like? Right. Saurus is restreaming it, so we will go and host Saurus. /raid. Right. Love you guys. You take care. And I will see you soon. Peace. Genuinely, thank you though. Like, I do appreciate all the support for the channel.